Hey everybody, Josh for Populi here, and honors where honors is due. Those is words Populi live by. Once you've set up your honors in Populi, the software can automatically bestow and tag students with the appropriate accolades. Isn't that great? Schwau. This video is most useful to folks with the academic admin role, since they're the ones with access to academics, settings, and will be able to actually set up honors. Both academic admin and registrar users can add honors manually. Also, we have a great article in our knowledge base about setting up honors, and you can check that out. The magic occurs under academics, settings, honors. If you already have honors created on your instance of Populi, you'll see them here. You'll notice there are 4 different categories of honors. Obviously, you can create honors at whatever level makes sense for your purposes, and we'll describe the differences in greater depth as we go. When we go to create an automatic or manual honor, we click on Add Honor. Then you can choose the type out of the 4 types there. The top 3, program, degree, and term, can be granted either automatically or manually. The 4th, student, can only be granted manually. The major distinction here is that program, degree, and term honors orient around a GPA threshold, and student honors do not, so they can't be granted automatically. Student honors might tend to be things like school spirit or best hair or what have you. A little more intangible, less grade-based. We'll talk about differences between the 3 other honor types, but first, let's use program as an example so we can see how setup works. We'll have type set to program and apply set to automatically. Give it a name. The next setting, minimum GPA, will define the lowest grade point at which the honor will apply. We're going to set this to 3.75. For max GPA, we'll set 4.0. Every student who has a GPA of 3.75 up to 4.00 receives this one. Below that, you have an option to include or exclude transfer grades in the honors calculation. That's up to your institution's policy. We'll choose to make this only institution grades. Minimum units. These units are either credits or hours, and this field will work in either credits or hours depending on what set is primary on the programs using it. The idea here is that certain honors would only be conferred after a student has completed a certain number of units. So if someone takes one 2-credit course and gets an A, should they get this particular honor? Or are you looking for 12 granted credits or 80 or what have you? And this is where things get different for the 3 different types of automatic honors. We'll be back to cover that shortly. This dropdown is like the one under max GPA. It lets us include or exclude transfer credits. So does someone have to receive all 80 credits from your institution? You should conform this to whatever your policy is. For our example, we'll set it to exclude transfer credits. The start date field here controls when Populi starts automatically bestowing honors. So if you're inputting an honor that you would like all historic students to receive, don't add a start date. If you're creating a new honor as of the next academic year, then set a date, and that honor will apply to applicable students after that date. If you have different kinds of honors for different programs, or even maybe different honors for different standings, then you can designate how those honors should apply to students in those programs and standings. You won't need that if, for instance, your undergraduate and graduate honors all work the same GPAs and unit thresholds for everything. When we add a program, you'll see that listed here as well as any standings. If we don't want certain standings to receive this honor, we can just uncheck them. We could add additional programs as well if that makes sense in your case. Okay, let's talk about distinctions between the program, degree, and term honors. The program honors just require a student to meet the GPA and unit criteria set on the honor. Let's say that on a program honor, The threshold is a 3.75 GPA and 48 credits. And we have a student who at the beginning of the term has a 3.8 GPA and 40 credits already granted. When the student gets to the end of that term's courses will grant them an additional 12 credits, and the student still has a 3.8. Populi then automatically awards the student the honor and tags them, etc. Degree honors require the criteria to be met just as we saw for the program, and then for a specified degree to be awarded. So, until the degree is actually marked as granted in Populi, that honor doesn't show up on their profile. How do you specify the degrees to which a given honor applies? As with programs, when you add a program on a degree honor, you also add all of the degrees under that program. Anything that should receive this honor we're creating should be checked. Anything that shouldn't, well, that should be unchecked. Term honors, of course, have to meet the GPA and unit requirements, but those requirements are specific to a particular term. So it's the GPA for the term, not the cumulative GPA. And it's the units for that term, not all units that have been granted to the student for all terms. Those honors are bestowed at the end of the term once those courses are graded and finalized. Also, term honors will always be institutional. Transfer credits don't play into them at all. Real quick, let's look at adding a manual honor. We'll select student as the type. We can only create manual honors for student honors. Then we'll give it a name. And that's literally all you have to do to create a manual honor. What happens when the happy student receives honors? What forms take such glad tidings? On a student's profile, on the Student tab, there's a sill for honors. Automatically granted honors show up down there, and that's where you, as academic admin or registrar, can add manual honors as well. When honors are added to a student, this also creates tags. So over on the left of the profile, under System Tag, you'll see those. Any single honor results in the generic honors tag, and there'll also be a tag for the specific honor the student received. These honors will also show up on transcripts, assuming that your transcript has a variable to accommodate them. Program honors are here, degree honors will be here, and then term honors are on the appropriate term. Couple things right before we're done. You can pull up a list of every student who has honors or every student who has a specific honor using the tags. Right here on the student profile, we've got the honors tag, and if we click on that, we get a full list of everyone with honors. Same thing for one of those specific honors tags. This probably affects no one, but I thought I'd mention it. Remember back when we were talking about that start date that you can set for an honor? That should work pretty much as you'd expect, but with program honors, it might seem a little bit like, what should I expect? Because if someone already has the units and the GPA to receive the honor, and they're in the system in Populi, what does that date do? The honor is looking for a student who meets the criteria and then also enrolls in a term with an end date that falls after the honor's start date. So if the honor's start date is May 1st and you have a term that ends on May 15th, students who meet the unit and GPA criteria and are granted a credit from that term will receive the new honor. And that's it. Check out the description for other resources about honors. A great way to keep up with updates and improvements to Populi as a software is via our weekly release notes. Those go out on Friday and you can follow them in our knowledge base. To do that, when you're logged into Populi, click on Help in the upper right-hand corner, click Search the Knowledge Base, and then click Release Notes and Announcements. Click on the heading for Release Notes, and then click Follow. You'll receive an email when we post release notes there, and that'll keep you on the bleeding edge of Populi features and improvements. And the release notes are fun. Lots of people say it's a highlight of their week. I've been Josh for Populi, and you've been great. Thanks for watching.